It's a Wonderful Life. I mean, knife. Because that's the movie we're talking about. So, this movie definitely surprised me. Mainly because marketed this as a slasher horror film. Or, sorry, slasher Christmas film. Horror Christmas film. Whatever you want to call it. And I didn't expect it to mean anything good because whenever you mix those two genres, you don't end up with something great. I was wrong. So this movie, so the main villain of this movie is Henry Walters, who wants to, I guess, buy a house and from a guy who doesn't want to sell it to expand his evil gentrification ish project. Not really, but he wants to build a mall where this guy's house is, pretty much, or expand his mall. And so this guy doesn't want to sell. And, it's the regular evil guy shit, right? So after that, Henry decides to kill him, but he puts on a mask and calls himself the angel or some stupid thing, right? And he tries to kill, and then he kills him. And then he goes to a Christmas party where his granddaughter, Cara Evans, is, and kills her and a bunch of kids as well. Now at this party, we also the main character of this story, Winnie Crothers, kills him by electrocuting him with some weird parts from a like from Christmas trees. Like I don't know, you put some there's some clip things. I don't know how electricity works. I'm not an engineer, so I'm just gonna say some magical electricity thing. Oh yeah, Winnie Crothers also just happens to be Car Evans, who is the old dude who he murdered, and is granddaughter and best friend of Winnie Crothers. So, and oh yeah, Winnie is the daughter of uh, Henry Walter's most loyal executive. I guess. I mean, they don't really actually talk about what he is outside of like being like a dead ass lackey. I don't know, but he happens to be a decent person. Anyway, so she electrocutes Henry Crothers or Henry Walters, sorry, and he dies. Right. Then you get the title credit, right, and then that's the start of the movie, like the real start of the movie, right? This is all before they even show the name of the movie title, right? And everyone's kind of confused at this point, right? Because it feels like they just showed us what should have been probably a whole movie, and I think kind of hurts them later on. Anyway, so then they kind of do a year jump, right? And then they go to, and so she based, and so it hurts them because they do a year later, and she feels, and by she I mean Winnie Carruthers feels like no one cares if she killed someone last year on Christmas. Oh yeah, this all happens on Christmas, by the way. So they do this year jump. She feels like no one cares that she killed someone, and then her boyfriend cheats on her with some other girl, and her parents get her brother a truck and get her a jumpsuit, like an exercise thing. And also, she goes to a party and doesn't have fun. And that causes her to decide to go outside and wish upon a star that she wasn't born. And lo and behold, because it's a Christmas Hallmark movie slash slasher, they of course it happens, and it gets she gets transported to a world where she was never born and no one knows who she is, and a world where this Henry Walters dude keeps killing people, including her brother, which happens shortly after the time, theoretically she would have stopped him. And this is where character development really hurts them, or the lack of it hurts them, because at this point they tried to develop they tried to cram character development for a whole movie into that intro, right? And then it hurts them later on because, or at this point now, because you kind of have the emotional stakes in this are caring about these random people that have died, and I don't care about them, right? So I'm kind of just sitting here confused about what I'm supposed to think because they're like, oh, the sheriff died. I'm like, okay, I didn't get to see it. That kind of sucks. It's a slasher movie. I want to see some of these people die, right? Like, there's a lot of talk. Oh, her brother died. Oh, and I'm like, I barely know who the main character of the story is. chill with me expecting to care. Like, it works for her, obviously, because she knows these people, like, in the character knows these people. But me, the audience member, has no clue who they are. So I'm kind of like, okay, cool, you do your thing. You do your thing. And I think that kind of dampens the emotional stakes, which I think would have probably helped. But like again, it's really hard to level criticism at this movie, and the reason it is because they have the greatest cop out ever, which is they're trying to be a Hallmark movie. So anything that seems like it's cheesy or it doesn't make sense, it's a Hallmark movie. It doesn't have to make sense, right? That's the beauty of it. And but I think so. I think that was my problem. Like my biggest frustration is I can't really criticize this thing. Like again, it's an enjoyable movie just to take your brain off. But if I have to provide some criticism here, then I'm gotta tell. I try to do some stuff, but it's hard because I feel like you can excuse everything with it's trying to be a Hallmark movie. That's supposed to happen like that. Anyways, I think that was probably my biggest frustration with the film, and overall, it was a very hard, fun, gruesome film. It's hard to really critique that film, right? Because of Hallmark aspects of it, right? So I guess I can just criticize. Like I can't really criticize the cheesy story or like the whole weird love story or the fact that the person who she falls in love with in the imaginary world happens to somehow remember her in the real world. Also, the fact that the person she falls in love with was going to commit suicide the day that on that Christmas day, and she saves her all completely, randomly. Because that's totally realistic, right? Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, the other thing I gotta say, and I didn't know this, I don't know if this is actually a thing, but the fact that I've seen this in 2 movies so far during this festival means that it has to be a thing. Okay, this cliche of, you know, dark movie theater horror scenes are kind of getting annoying as a trope. But look, it looks fun, cool, and it goes a cool parody of It's a Wonderful Life. It's definitely worth the watch if you like Christmas movies, or if you like slashers, or if you like both. I guess because it is both. Also, shout out to Daniel Beckerman who we interviewed. He produced this movie, so love to see it. Anyways, I'd probably give it like a 3 out of 5 or whatever. It's like again, I did enjoy it from start to finish, but I don't know what that's worth at this point. So that with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.